Thanks a lot, Adarsh, for your kind words. So I and the wonderful introduction. So I'll try to explain that how rural audience can contribute for the internet standardization and why it is important. So basically, the most important part is that India has to move further, and under the flagship Digital India program, we have to contribute in the making of standards also, and it is very important for the internet so that internet could reach to the last mile user and all the rural areas along with the urban area should be connected to the internet and can take the advantages of its technologies. So first of all, I would say that the internet standards, the everything is recommendatory. So in the case of internet standards, standard making bodies like Internet Engineering Task Force, IEEE, ITU, they make the standards. But all the standards are recommendatory, and their usage depends upon the adoption of the internet. That how many people are using it, and they are generally created by the hardware and software companies, and the concept in standards may not have been necessarily implemented. So I'm just explaining in the beginning of this presentation because one has to understand that why standards are important. Even if they are recommendatory, they are are adopted across the globe by private companies as well as governments of the so many countries. So when we are making the standards, it's not necessary that they would be implemented, but they largely depends upon their adoption and the use by the users. And most of the work happen in the working group. So as we all work in the groups in even in our offices and our colleges, and the teamwork is very important. In the similar way, we work in the working groups while we are developing the standards. It is the teamwork, and there are many standard development organizations. So now the journey of a person who really want to contribute in the internet standard making process, they have to start, or they may involve with the standard development organization, and their journey start with these organization when they are making the standard. So some of the important key bodies of internet standardization, and I have just given the some uh, you know comparison of these bodies, and thanks to ISOC Kolkata, they have contributed in creation of these slides. So thanks a lot, ISOC Kolkata. So these standard making bodies, they have we have IETF, OSS, OMG, and W3C. So now there is the comparison in each and every standard making body. So basically you can see the IETF, which is Internet Engineering Task Force. The entrance barrier to the Internet Engineering Task Force is zero. So you don't have to pay any money while you are attending these meetings remotely. So this is the very important factor for anybody from the rural India, where the participation fee is kind of a barrier. But in IETF you can start and you can join remotely. In other OSS, OMG, and W3C, there is a fee when you are participating in the standard making process. Other than that, in IETF, there is a WG stands for working group. So we have BOF, Birds of a Feather session. So these session in which you can give your discuss your idea with other fellows, and I will discuss this in coming slides. Then we have procedural rules which are strict, internet IP rules which are RAND, that is the reasonable and non-discriminatory. And then we have the conceptual framework in IETF. There are different areas in IETF in which we can, decide in which area you want to work. And the most important feature is implementation. So a person in a rural area who is, studying computer science, and he is good in coding, and he could, create a program, and now he want to showcase his work in the standard making. So I would suggest that IETF is the low, have the low entrance barriers, and they could start with IETF. I'm not saying that other bodies are not good, but the IETF is, kind of have low entrance barriers. Apart from that, you can see these slides and for the better comparisons, and I think these slides would be shared with the audience after the presentation. So what father of internet says? That standards should be discovered, not invented. So these are the, very important words by the father of internet, that you have to, invent them. It is not just the discovery, but you have to, find the problem, then you have to create a solution around it, and then you have to implement it. So it is basically the invention. So again, the very important personality in terms of in the area of internet, that is the W3C founder. W3C is www dot, what we are using in each and every day while we are typing URLs in the browser. So the rough consensus and running code, that means that while you are developing something, you should have some consensus on it, and you must have the implementation of the standard through the running code. So you must have some code to showcase that your work is not just idea, but it could also run on the in the real time. So now I would be mainly focusing on the Internet Engineering Task Force. So in which the entrance barrier is low, and anybody from the rural India, as well as from the not just rural India but the rural world, as well as along with the urban world, could participate. And now I would be explaining IETF, that what it is, how you could take part in it, what is the stand of India in IETF, and what is the contribution, and what are the advantages of participating in IETF, and how you could make the India's position strong in standard making process while you are participating in Internet Engineering Task Force, as well as other SDOs, that is standard development organizations. So ITF is created in 1986. Earlier, there was US ARPANET, now which is known as Internet. Now, it was earlier controlled by the Internet Configuration Control Board, and then the Internet Activities Board. After that, in 1986, IETF is formed, and you would be surprised that first IETF meeting was on a beach, and there were very few engineers were present. But now IETF meetings in in countries where more than 1,000 plus engineers across the globe from several very important organizations participate, and they discuss the issues related to the internet, and they find the solution, and they come up with the standards, so that these standards could be deployed across the globe, and people could enjoy the benefits of internet. So the earlier, the main funding body from the was the US government until 1997, and after that, Internet Society came into the Internet Society was the legal umbrella, and they were also funding for IETF, and now IETF LLC is created for the further funding process. So what is the main motto of the IETF? That we reject kings, presidents, and voting. We believe in rough consensus and running code. So these are the important factors. So when we go to the IETF, the people are, very important. You cannot say that somebody from a bigger organization has more say. IETF than some smaller organization. So the important thing that what knowledge you have, what technical knowledge you have, what kind of solution you are proposing, and this if the proposed solution has the technical merit, so you could you know uh, give your ideas in IETF, and you should not be impacted by to which companies or to which university you are working for. So IETF attendees are judges for themselves, and they are not represented by the organization I mean, not judged by the organization they represent. The power of a technical argument is very important at IETF, and it does not help to have many different companies represented on a document or a proposal, but your idea should be good. So what is actually IETF administration? So IETF administration is now done by the IETF LLC, which provides the corporate legal home for IETF, the Internet Architecture Board, as well as the Internet Research Task Force. So basically, those who are actually working for the standards, but they also have some research work, they could showcase their research in research arm of IETF, which is known as Internet Research Task Force. So most of the internet related standards were developed by IETF, and they were also maintained by the IETF. So basically, there are, if you can say that there are 7 layers in OSI net, in OSI architecture. Then apart from the physical layer, IETF works on every layer of the standard making process. So basically, page display standards and the physical layer, IETF not work upon that. There were 100,000. There were 1,000 to 1,500 people at 3 uh, meetings per year, and there are several locations of IETF. Now we are also want that IETF should come to India, so that engineers from India could participate and showcase their work to the global audience. Apart from that, it is not necessary that initially you have to go to the physical meetings of IETF to attend it, but you can also join the work through the mailing list. So all the working groups work is you can access through the emails, and you can ask questions, and you can read the discussions in the mailing list, so that you can contribute to the work. So one has to understand that what is the purpose of IETF. So the basic purpose of IETF to develop and maintain standards for technologies used to provide internet services or to provide services over the internet, to ensure that technology can perform needed function, and so that the technology could support proper scale of deployment and usage. It is also important, and IETF also ensure that the technology itself is secure and can be operated securely. So cybersecurity is one of the important work of IETF, and they do it through the implementation in the internet standards and the protocols. And they also ensure that the technology is manageable, so that people could easily use it. So what are the IETF standards? So IETF standards are very important, and we are not just saying them, standards because we say so. Standards because people use them. For example, I have discussed in my first slide that if people are not using them, they are kind of standards but not implementable. So standards are basically implementable solutions, so that people could use them on large scale without so much deviation or without any deviation. So when there are formal so standard development organization, they create legally mandated standards, but IETF is not creating legally mandated standards. IETF standards are they are published publicly, and people could use them without any legal mandate. ITF standards are published in form of RFCs, request for comments, and there is no formal recognition for ITF standards by the government or approved standard organizations, but some government standards refer to ITF standards because they are the global standards. So many solutions are created by private sector companies based upon the IETF standards. Okay, so this is very important. So there are, a lot of requirement by the private sector companies for standard developing engineers and the protocols engineers. So how work is done in IETF? So before going to this slide, you would be wondering that how you could join the IETF work. So the starting point is the mailing lists. And there are 134 plus active working groups in IETF, and every working group has a mailing list. And I would be explaining in my next slides that how many areas are there and what are the important standards we are using in our daily life, and how you could join to these working groups through the mailing list. So working group chairs manage the working group, and there are also the document editors which are maintaining and editing the documents in IETF. There are 7 areas which I would explain in my next slides. There is also the research arm of IETF, which is known as the Internet Research Task Force. There is also a Internet Engineering Steering Group, and which is responsible for the whole standardization steering work. And there is technical review and process management through the area directors as well as by the IETF chair. The Internet Architecture Board is responsible for the architectural guidance and the licensings with other standard making bodies and organizations. So there are important areas of IETF. ART stands for application and real-time area, GEN for general area, INT for internet area, OPS for operation management, RTG for routing, SEC for security, and TSV for transport. The security area is very important because it cut across it cut across all the areas, because security is really important. I hope I'm audible to everybody.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. So now I would be covering these areas one by one. So the IETF area, this is the application and real-time area. So ART area develops application protocols and architectures in the IETF. So generally all the applications layer protocols are developed in the ART area. One category, there are 2 categories. One category consists of protocols and architecture specifically designed to support delay sensitive interpersonal communication via voice, video, instant messaging, presence, and other means, otherwise known as real-time application and services. We also have the second category consists of protocol and architecture to support application that may be more tolerant of delay, including HTTP, email, and FTP. So these are some of the examples. The third category consists of building blocks that are designed for use across a wide variety of application and may be employed by both real-time and non-real-time application. So basically, you can say that you can see that in the first category there were real-time application. Then we have the HTTP, email, and FTP like protocols, and then we have some both real-time and non-real-time applications such as the URI scheme, MIME types, authentication mechanism, data format, matrices, and codecs. So these are the important areas in important protocols which are we ITF engineers are developing in application and real-time area. The general area, as the name suggests, the general area consists of a few IETF working groups and other activities, focuses on supporting, updating, and maintaining the IETF standard development process. The IETF chair manages the general area review team and other IETF-wide directorates. So basically, it is for the IETF management and the work-related working group. The one of the important area is the INT, which stands for Internet. So the main primary technical topics covered by the Internet area include, IP layer, both IPv6 and IPv4 versions, and specifically implication of IPv4 address depletion. As you know, IPv4 addresses are depleting and people are, moving to IPv6, and coexistence between the IP version. That means coexistence between the IPv4 and IPv6. Domain name, system, dynamic host control protocol, host and router configuration are part of this area. Mobility, multi-homing, identifier locator, separation, virtual private networks, and pseudo wires, along with the related MPLS issues. That means multi-protocol label switching and various link layer technologies are under this area. The internet area is also responsible for specifying how IP will run over new link layer protocols. So that's why internet area is very important. And I'm again repeating, if you are not getting all these technical terms, in this presentation, so don't worry about it, because these are technical. You can note it down, and you can go through them one by one and search about it on internet, and you will be really hopefully understanding the importance of these protocols, and why you have to work for it. So nothing to worry about it, but you can at least go through what it is. So again, the third area is the operations and management. So which is known as ops. The primary technical area is related to the technical management, AAA server, AAA, that means authentication, authorization, and accounting, DNS operations, domain name system operations, which is kind of very important these days. I mean, these are the DNS is the basic fundamental critical block for the so that internet could run smoothly. Then IPv6 operations, operational security, and routing operations. So because all the operation related matters are covered in the ops area. Again, we have two logical division of this area. First is network management, and then operation. So network management function includes internet management and AAA's and the related protocols, including but not limited to the netconf, SNMP. Netconf is the network configuration protocol, radius protocol, diameter, and capwap. Capwap is again control and provisioning of wireless access, and of data modeling and data modeling languages used in management, such as the Yang. So Yang is kind of really important. You may note down this keyword, and Yang is yet another next generation. It is important data modeling language used for management. To identify potential or actual management issues regarding ITF protocols and document in all areas and work with other areas to resolve those issues is one of the important work under the network management function of ops area. The operations function includes the soliciting operational feedback and inputs regarding ITF work, and to identify potential or actual operational issues regarding ITF protocols and document in all areas, and to work with the other areas to resolve those issues. So operation area intersect most often with routing, internet, and security area. So you have to understand that not a single, all the areas are kind of dependent upon each other and cut across, and dependent upon each other. No, you can say none of the area is independent. Then we have the routing area. So routing area is there to ensure continuous operation of internet routing system by maintaining the scalability and stability characteristics of existing routing protocols, as well as developing new protocols, extensions, and bug fixes in a timely manner. So you have to also see that we are not just developing the protocols, but we are also developing the extensions based upon the protocols. So you can also develop extensions. For example, there is a latest standard, which is TLS 1.3. You may go through that transport layer security standard 1.3, and you may develop extensions above it. So it would be useful for the users across the globe. We also, now I'm moving to the second point, that forwarding methods such as the destination based unicast and multicast forwarding, MPLS, that is multi protocol label switch and pseudo wires, as well as associated routing and signaling protocols such as OSPF, open shortest path first. So then we have BGP, we have LDP, L1, L2, and L3 layer virtual private network. So these are the important areas in which routing uh, you know area is working, and there are several working groups under routing area, and they are developing and maintaining the software. They are creating new extension, they are fixing bugs in timely manner. So routing area is again very important. We have traffic engineering, routing and signaling protocols. The routing area intersects most frequently with the internet area, the operations and management area, and security area. So again, these areas cut acrossing each other. Interaction with internet area concentrates mainly on IP forwarding and multicast. The current work in the routing area has some overlap with other standard development organization, in particular with the ITU. And what is the protocol? This is MPLS-TP. So MPLS-TP is multi-protocol label switching transport profile. So in this area, both the organizations are working, and there are also some overlap. So you may also go through and see as per your interest only. Now, this area is close to my heart, security area, because it deals with the cyber security. So cyber security area is the home for working groups focused on security protocols. They provide one or more of the security services, which includes integrity, authentication, non-repudiation, confidentiality, and access control. Since many of the security mechanisms needed to provide these security services, they employ cryptography. Key management is also one of the important factors. The security area intersects with all other IETF areas, and the participants are frequently involved with activities in these working groups from other areas. This involvement focuses upon practical application of security area protocols technologies to the protocols of other areas. So this area is very important in the light of flagship Digital India program as well as the smart cities, because all the success is only there when all the system is secured, and people use it without compromising their sensitive details and their data, as well as their the cybersecurity also ensures trust in the solution. So trust is one of the important factor. That's why this ITF security area is close to my heart. So you may join the area as per your interest. Now we comes to the transport area. It covers a range of technical topics related to the data transport in the internet. The transport area works on mechanisms related to end-to-end data transport to support internet applications and services that exchanges potentially large volumes of traffic at potentially high bandwidth. So when I'm talking about potentially large volumes of traffic and at potentially high bandwidth, so you may see that there are applications which are using these large bandwidth and large volume, and you can say that Netflix and other streaming companies are using large volumes of traffic and potentially high bandwidth. So these kind of internet applications or we have to this area we may work, and so that they would be supported on the so that people could utilize large volumes of traffic at potentially high bandwidths. So basically, our key focus are mechanisms to detect and react to the congestion in the internet, such as the congestion control algorithms in internet transport control protocols such as TCP, SCTP. So SCTP is stream control transmission protocol. TCP is transmission control protocol. MPTCP again. Uh, uh, Important area, which is multipath TCP, and DCCP, which is datagram congestion control protocol, represented by RFC, request for comment 4340. So these terms are really important, at least to to start with, depending upon your interest, and you can read about these protocols and why they are important, and how you could contribute in the development in these protocols and the new protocols related to them. We also working in current and new transport work in the transport area, which includes congestion signaling and reporting, forward error correction, multicast quality of services, and reservation signaling. In addition to that, diff-serve and congestion control for unresponsive flows, net regularization and specification, storage protocols for the internet, and many more, protocols in which transport area is working. The transport area intersect most frequently with internet area, the art area, that is the application one, the security area, and the several IRTF, which is Internet Research Task Force, groups. So I have covered all the areas of IETF, and now you can choose areas of your interest, and every area has several working groups, and you can join the working groups through the emailing list, and you can participate in the discussion. So that is the first entry point to start working with IETF and to contribute the internet standardization. You may have several questions and related to these slides which I have covered, but I would say the most of these technical words, technical jargons, you not need to afraid. You can start with with the interest of your area. Let's say the security area, you can join and find out any working group you can join, and then you would get to know these terms easily with the time. So I would be now explaining some important protocols which are developed by IETF, so that you may understand more that how the IETF and internet standard is creating impact in your daily life. So you can see that IETF protocols that makes internet work. So TCP/IP, so which is important for internet. So transmission control protocol, and IP you are using every day. So that is IPv4 and IPv6. I have also put the RFC number so that you can go and see what is written in the RFC of IPv4, IPv6, TCP, UDP. And now we also using DNS, domain name system, which is converting name to IP addresses and vice versa. So that you can easily type for example website of your choice, and this DNS would help you to connect to that IP address. So we have DNS. For the DNS security, we have DNSSEC. We also have DANE. So we also using email protocols developed by IETF, that are SMTP and IMAP. We also have the web protocol, that is the HTTP and HTTPS. Now we have the networking and routing protocols that are BGP, OSPF, MPLS. So these are the important protocols we are using in our daily life every day, and that's why it is very important for every student or faculty, as well as the institution in India, which really want to create a new solution, or future internet. So it's very important to take part in the standard making process. We also have the security area in which the recent transport layer security TLS 1.3 is developed. RFC number is 8446. You can read about it, and this is very important, which ensures the perfect forward secrecy so that nobody could, decode your you decode your communication. So these are the important, uh, internet protocols we are using in our daily life. Now I will be explaining some of the working groups which you may join and you can contribute. So in the IPv6 activities, we have the IPv6 operation working group, which is known as V6 Ops. They provide operational guidance on deploying and operating IPv6 in new and existing networks. We have 6-man, which is IPv6 maintenance working group for the upkeep and development of IPv6 protocol specifications and addressing architecture. We also have HomeNet, which is home networking working group. It is working on developing networking protocols for a small residential network, and it is kind of very important and interesting to develop networking protocol for small residential networks. We also have Sunset 4. This is one of the interesting working group for the sunsetting of IPv4. They are discussing transition of IPv4 to IPv6 with view to deprecating IPv4. So when we have IPv6 deployed across the globe, then how to deprecate IPv4? So this is one of the interesting question, and you can take part in this working group. Now we have the DNSSEC activities which are in process or done by the IETF. These are the DNS operations. DNS Op working group provides operational guidance on DNS software and services, administration of DNS zones, and DNSSEC. We also have DANE, which is which is DNS-based authentication of named entities working group, developing mechanisms and techniques to allow establishment of cryptographically secured communication using information in the DNSSEC. Now, again, the interesting working group, which is DPRIVE, DNS Private Exchange Working Group. They are developing mechanisms to provide confidentiality to DNS transactions using TLS, transport layer security or DTLS. So these are, these working groups are really important in terms of DNS sec and the DNS security. Routing activity. So important working groups are SIDR, Secure Inter-Domain Routing Working Group, improving the security of routing infrastructure through RPKI and BGP-SEC specifications. So RPKI and BGP-SEC are also very important standards for securing routing for secure inter-domain routing. We have SIDR operations. They are developing operational guidance on deploying and operating SIDR in new and existing network. We also have Global Routing Operations Working Group to consider the operational problems with the IPv4 and IPv6 on the global routing system, including routing leaks. Then we have Inter-Domain Routing Working Group to improve and to ensure the robustness and scalability of border gateway protocol by IPv4 and IPv6. So these are the important working groups under routing activities. There are many more working groups which may which may be very important for you too as per your interest. So you may join them as well. Trust, identity, and privacy. So we have Transport Layer Security Working Group. They have recently developed TLS 1.3. It's now not recent, but like more than a year old, and they are also working on and developing a cryptographic protocol to provide privacy and data integrity between communicating computer applications. So when I have written these lines, then TLS 1.3 was in the process of development. Now it is already developed. So the next working group is UTA, which means using TLS in the application. They are developing definitions for using TLS with application protocols, best practices for clients and servers, and guidance for the developers. Again, we have ACME, which is Automated Certificate Management Environment, and they are developing REST-based specifications for automating digital certificate issuance, validation, revocation, and renewal. And the basis of the uh, it is the basis of the Let's Encrypt service. So Let's Encrypt service provide the certificates for to ensure the uh, uh, authenticity of the communication. There is also public notary transport working group for the development of the mechanism to allowing detection of the misused certificates. We also have curves deprecating and a little more encryption working group, which they are developing new cryptographic security, including new algorithms for DNSSEC and SSH. So basically, you can see that they are the interesting name for the working group, and there are interesting people in working group, and they are really helpful, and you will learn a lot from them while you are working in the development process of a standard. So basically, these are the some of the important working group and some of the important work in IETF. So now I would be moving to my next slide, which is the theory, which is titled the theory. So it is very important that in theory and practice are the same thing, and it is by the our beloved Albert Einstein. So these were the theoretical part which I have discussed. But what is in the uh, you know practical, we will also see in our future slides. So these are the organizational structure of IETF. I would not be covering these slides in detail, but I am just giving some ideas that how IETF and everything is organized. And there are also some recent changes which I have not covered in detail on these slides, but this is just for the reference. So we have 7 areas, and each area is may have 20 or more than 20 working groups. There may be less also, and there is Internet Architecture Board, and we also have Internet Research Task Force. So we have the Internet IESG, Internet Engineering Steering Group, Internet Administrative Oversight Committee. We also have IAB, and then we have the different areas. We have the under the areas we have the working groups, and under the Internet Research Task Force we have the research groups. Now, what is the processes of working groups? When you have joined a working group through the emailing list, then what important things you have to remember? So first thing is the charter of a working group. So you have to go through the charter of the working group before joining the mailing list, or even after you joining the mailing list, you have to read the charter. But it is suggested that you may read first and then see that does it synchronizing with your problem work or with your interest, and then you may join the group for the better contribution and the communication. So charter specify the problems and perhaps solution approaches of the working group, specify deliverables and the timelines. The public discussion primarily on the mailing list, regular meetings to discuss difficult points, and there are also interim meetings by telephone, video conferencing, and the face-to-face meetings during the IETF meeting. Or if the engineers are co-located, then they can also meet. What are the process of a working group creation? So then you may start with BOF, Bird of the session. This is the first step to discuss any problem, and if the problem is substantial, there is a technical merit, and there is a there could be a solution which could be have a prototype through the running code. And then you go to the you can describe chair description, goals and milestones of a working group. Then you can go to the area director. Then area director would approach to the ISG in turn would approach to the IAB. Then after all the approvals, the working group is created, and then new working group in ITF is announced. This is the just general reference diagram, and if it is not done, then again you may take the you may again refine your charter and problem, and then you can again follow the process. Now we come to the one of the important factor while we are working in the IETF. So internet drafts. So internet drafts are the working documents of internet engineering task force. As you write the research paper in the academia, you write the internet drafts explaining the problem with the proposed solution. You would also examine the viewpoint, and these internet drafts, the main the goal is not to write the standard but to discuss and solve a problem. And when there is a genuine merit, I think it will eventually culminate into an RFC. So working group discussion, you would discuss your draft in the working groups. You may merge or select proposal, and you can formulate the consensus. So it is very important to formulate the consensus in IETF. So the most if somebody is working in ITU, so there are contributions and working papers. So they are the working documents in IETF, internet drafts. They are not necessarily work items, and half of all the internet drafts are simply documents people have chosen to post so that people could understand what is the problem and what solution they are suggesting. 75% of internet drafts do not result into the RFC. So you have to understand that out of 100, 75 would not result into the RFCs. Only 36% become standards. So these are some statistics. So there are also the nomenclature, how to write when you are writing an internet draft. So is it representing a working group, or it is a submission to the working group, or it is a individual submission? So every draft has a nomenclature, or you can utilize when you are writing them. So what is the lifespan of an internet draft? It is 6 months. It is not like that research paper once written is written, but you have to update your draft, and their lifetime is 6 months. If they are expired, you can again update them. Rough consensus and running code. This is the motto of the IETF. The proposal ultimately selected is one which is demonstratively works. Politics may be a factor in IETF, but not usually a deciding factor. So this is the important lines to remember while you are working in IETF. Now, after the theory slides, now I come to the practice. So in theory there is no difference between theory and practice, but in practice there is. So again, it is attributed to Albert Einstein and Yogi Berra, and you have to understand the gravity of these lines. So when you are in IETF, you have joined the mailing list, then how you could make your mark in the IETF community. So it depends upon your goodwill, your good judgment, your good planning, and consistency of the application. So consistency of application means that how good you are, how good internet draft you are writing. Are you updating them or not, or how much you are pursuing it. And like all IETF issues, the resolution is generally found in the discussion. So how to make the difference in the IETF? So there are some, very basic rules. The IETF is first and foremost a community. Communities are composed of people with all of their goods and bad points. How do you make difference in your community and at home? So be constructive, be willing to learn, be willing to contribute to a team. There must be a shared goal, and be part of the community. So these are the important, points one has to remember while contributing or while taking part in IETF processes. So what are some, notions about IETF that people complain that it is a old boy club, but there is my viewpoint of, and there is also several logical viewpoint that this is the misunderstanding. We have a number of good people who often disagree among them, and this is the case everywhere. We have a number of people who create noise. We have a number of new people that haven't established relationship or become known. So it is important to, to be the part of the IETF conversation, and you have to be person with a clue. So you cannot go directly and start asking. I'm not saying you cannot ask question, but first you have to go through the documents thoroughly first, and then you can actually make the mark in IETF conversation. So how to be a person with clue, that comment clue fully on working group discussions, not just your own interest. So you have to file internet drafts that are simple, well written, and describe or solve real problems in implementable ways. So this last sentence is very important, that they should be well written and describe or solve real problem in implementable ways. Now, the most important question that we discussing IETF, and this is the global, I think, internet society, platform. But I am also sharing these standards based upon my brief research, that where India stands in, standard making processes at IETF, and how Indian, diaspora could contribute, and Indian, engineers could contribute further in it. I'm not just saying engineers, but as well as all the stakeholders, community, scientific community, academia, engineers, and related agencies could take part in it. So first of all, we have to understand what is the India's position in IETF. So there are, you can see there are several, authors from the different countries, and India stands at 10th position. So we have only 1.44%, contributors and authors which come from India. And there are 351 documents, internet drafts, including internet drafts and request for comments. So there are non-Indian organizations, which are 325 documents: Huawei, Cisco, Microsoft, Ericsson, NEC, and NEC, Juniper, and Alcatel. And for them, the engineers have written the documents. For the non-Indian organization, Indian organization TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, they have written the first indigenous RFC 7967. So Abhijan Bhattacharya is the author, and I am lucky to work with this wonderful scientist. And there are also some companies from India like SCL, Infosys, which shows the involvement in 2013, and recently Reliance Jio is also, contributing in some or another manner in IETF. But still, given the size of India in terms of population as well as the users, we have to be more active in IETF area, and and standard development organizations, so that we may develop in standards, and we could provide our important inputs and contribute, so that globally accepted standards and for the future internet may be created. So there are some other statistics also which may be relevant for everybody here. More than 50% of IETF authors came from USA, 7% from China, and only 1.44% from India. So these are not just the latest statistics, but these are like previous years till 2020. So there is nothing substantial here in terms of change in the statistics. So still they are very relevant. These are very relevant points and data. So we are at 10th position, only 0.18 documents per million people from India, kind of very less. There are 295 documents, only 2.83%, which have authors from India. So there is very small increase from December 2018 in the number of document. In December 2018, there were 245 documents, and in July 2020, 295 documents. So I'm not just saying that we have to just write the documents for the sake of increasing the number, but we have to contribute in a substantial and effective way. So, a comparison of number of authors, India versus other countries. So, 114 Indian authors with 295 documents is occupying the 10th position in all document category. This is the weak pipeline as compared to 292 authors with 835 documents from UK and 3,967 authors from USA with 7,465 documents. USA is maintaining the lead in terms of involvement and contribution, and China has an exponential rise, and Israel is also showing a positive trend. So we have to also follow the path of other important countries in the world, so that we could achieve the 5 trillion economy for India, as per directions, or as per the guidance of our honorable prime minister. So why we should attend and contribute to internet engineering task force? What is the benefit, and why we should do it? So first, we mostly follow standards but do not participate while they are under development. I'm not just saying it in terms of India, but across the globe there are several countries. They could also come and join the effort. So IETF develops major internet standards on which internet is running. Like I have described these protocols and they are related to the file transfer, email, networking and routing, DNS, web, and security. And there is no part of our daily life in which we are not using internet. So that's why it's very important for every person, or I mean every relevant person, or every country to take part in these activities. It is also to empower IT professionals by broadening their experience and enabling their participation in open internet standards development. It will give insights into current trends in internet research. It will open up new areas of research in internet technologies like Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, transport layer security, and other important protocols which have a great potential to produce world-class IT products. And one has to understand that the its standards are the building blocks of the product. So if you of a product, so if you want to create a product, you have to first standardize it. Or in the area of uh, in the area of internet or ICT area. So Internet Engineering Task Force is one of the important standard developing organization. So again, what is the benefit? The benefit is that you contributed internet standards making process. You also would have good networking with internet stalwarts, international exposure to the IETF in technical community, and there are also some fellowship programs to attend the IETF meeting physically. So there were some fellowship program by the Internet Society. I don't know the current status now. And earlier, I hope in I think in some last year, Mighty, the Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India also provided fellowships to the persons to attend IETF meetings physically, and and to contribute to the activities. So what are the again the important benefit? The requirement of protocol engineers is in the high demand in companies like TCS, Cisco, Juniper, Microsoft, Google, Ericsson, and there are many more. The list is too long, so one has to be capable for it. And IETF is kind of the platform which will give you the complete idea how to develop a protocol. Students can highlight participation and contribution at ITF on their resume, so that they will give them it will give them edge over others, and employment opportunities with these companies will with very impressive salaries. So these are some practical part of ITF while you are contributing in ITF. And it will also strengthen India's as well as well as countries, other countries which really want to contribute in the internet standard making process, in the open internet standard making work. So again, I would be summarizing that what is the guideline for participating in IETF work, to join the mailing list of IETF working groups. This is the starting point, and this is where the work happens. Don't be shy, but you don't have, I mean, you try not to come too strong. Talk with people, not just to the people. Treat everyone with respect, even if you disagree, because this is the community and we may have the disagreements. Look for common grounds. Don't settle for second-rate discussion or technology. Read the drafts, internet drafts, and contribute to the open internet standard making process. Sorry, ITF, next ITF meeting, I think this is my older slide. I didn't able to update it, but it's the next ITF meeting is online, and remote participation is available. The next meeting, most probably in the month of March 2021, and all the details are available on IETF.org, and the remote participation is also available. So I think this is the question and answer round. Try to complete the activities related to ITF, but there are also standard developing organizations. But ITF has the low entrance barrier. Thank you from my side.
I would like to thank you, Harish ji. I was like remembering my early beginning stage with an ITF. So I know like very well. When I came for an ITF, I just met you in a Prague for the very first time. So it was like I can remember. I used to attend multiple virtual meetings. Then the journey with ITF and the contributions like wonderful. I can recall all those. And coming back, I would like to thank you so much for this wonderful section. To be frank, it covered like a complete ITF structure. So it from the scratch, and with respect to the different multiple working groups, and you made us to walk through the working groups as well. And also, even the draft, how can a layman for the specifically for an ITF can contribute from the draft in the way of research activities. So it's also covered, and the benefits under the IETF, and a lot of opportunities and in the IETF to contribute and to standardize the internet. So you covered like in most of the sections. So I would like to thank you for this. And yeah, now it's time to take up questions. So I am able to see 2 comments here. Just I will go through the comments and then we can take up the questions. Meanwhile, if anyone have questions, so please drop your queries in the chat box. So those who are in the live stream. So from Nicholas, we have an just like a comment. So it's like an IPv6 is really important for rural development. The importance of well-establishment IoT in rural areas and communities. Yeah, it's really very true. Yeah, even our rural special interest group would like to work on the IETF, IoT protocols, IoT working groups, and also IoT in rural area, like in precision agriculture or smart village. So in different sectors. So we are planning of true. Yeah, Nicholas is one of our board member as well. And so one more of our member, like and Lucky, so Lucky Sherlesto. So as commented as interesting presentation, a lot to learn from here. Thank you. Okay, please let us know if there are any queries. We are open to take up. So you can drop a message in the chat box with your query. You can take up that. Yeah. Meanwhile, if anyone send the queries, Harish ji, I have like a small query. So if like an early bird, so those who will enter into ITF. So will they get initially? Will they get any like a lead as like a leader or as a lead? So who can suggest them, who can guide them to walk through the ITF, how to follow the protocols there inside it?
So basically, Anand, Adarsh, so in ITF, there is a complete mechanism to for the onboarding of the newcomers. So there are newcomer sessions. You got the opportunity to talk to the people who are actually developed so many standards. They will nicely guide you how to move further. They will actually they there are also there is mentorship sessions. So there are mentors available, and the community is really nice, and they really help the newcomers so that they could could reach to the level where they can actually contribute. On the other hand, the person who is really interested for the contribution, they may also request for the work, and depending upon the skills, mentors as well as the senior people in the IETF, they will also give them the work. The work could be this the people who was taking the note, or even attendance, because these are they may be the starting point for a I'm saying a newcomer or a students, but there could be other roles as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, I'm not able to see much more questions. I hope if any queries are there, so even Harish Chowdhary is part of an board team for an Internet Society Rural Development. You can drop our members, anyone can drop a queries and can reach out to Harish Chowdhary and take the discussions offline. Am I right, Harish ji?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that. Okay, it's time already. We have one more comment. I will just walk through it. I don't know. The comment is from BK 2000 Wang. Thanks for a nice talk. So yeah, we have a query here as well. What areas are most useful for rural areas? For example, low bandwidth connectivity and internationalization of the web.
So there is, you can say, the art working group, which they are developing, so many application layer protocols. So there could be, important, one of the important area. And I would again suggest the, 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 the security area. So that is very important to ensure the security for the, our rural people, because, rural people are kind of, I'm not saying they are not very much aware of, the dark side of digital systems. There are so many hackers or the people who create the nuisance. So cyber security is one of the important area, I mean say the security area of IETF. So this is important one as well in my views, but depending upon the solutions, there is interest, there could be different areas depending upon each and every user, but in my viewpoint, art in the security area is important.
Thank you for that. So we have one more comment from Madi. So very interesting. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. We are about 9 minutes. We have taken. So time to the section. So I like to thank once again the speaker. So he made us the last one hour to completely so like an idea. So very like most of it. So like thank everyone once again, and I'd like to thank the audience, all the audience that are with us, and I would like to take up also my webinars here, and I could contribute to this. I hope some issues with my audio. Sorry for that. Yeah, I'm sorry for the issues with respect to my audio. So yeah, this is the time to end up the session. I would like to thank one and all so being here. Thank you once again, and have a great weekend. Thank you, Harish. And if you for any queries, you can reach us to info@ruralisocsig.org email. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.